And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Succession Success, the Q5 Experience podcast, right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. Matt Dery with you. So I run business development and marketing for both the Q5 Experience and Financial Architects, Inc. On this podcast, we talk about succession. We talk to some business owners and certainly some companies that certainly are successful in Southeast Michigan, but also have a great story. And we get into a little bit of exit planning and just to hit on just about everything when it comes to business owners, and certainly your exit plan. When it comes to Q5, what do we do at the Q5 Experience? It's simple. Many business owners are eventually going to exit their business. Many do not have a plan or even thought about what's going to happen 3 to 5 years out. That's what we help you with. You go find out more about our team at q5experience.com. Joining us today, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see him on the screen. He's the Vice President of J.J. Barney Construction in Rochester Hills. It is Josh Barney, the Vice President, who is our guest today. Josh, great to see you.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Great to be with you.
We appreciate it, Josh. We love talking construction. Certainly, you and I have met a couple of different times, including at the Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, where both Q5 and you guys are active. But tell us a little about your company. And I love that it's fourth generation, 1927. That's pretty remarkable, huh?
That's my favorite part about it. We were founded in 1927, if you can believe that, by my great-grandfather. His name is Joseph James, and that's where the J.J. and J.J. Barney comes from. It was passed along to J.J.'s 3 sons, one of whom was my grandfather. And then in about the 80s or 90s, my dad took over. And then sometime pretty soon, it'll go to me. And I have a cousin that runs our Florida office, which is probably opened within the last 10 years. So it's really one family for almost 100 years, 4 generations.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned? Like, what did your great-grandfather pass down to your grandfather and maybe to your dad and to you that just has always stayed top of mind when it comes to J.J. Barney?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's living not just for today, it's leaving a legacy, and it's doing what you say you're going to do and not taking shortcuts. Trying to get the quick buck, but standing behind what you believe in and what you stand for, and doing what you say you're going to do, and really building partnership with your customers, and not just trying to squeeze out every drop that you can get from them.
Josh Barney with us from J.J. Barney Construction, specializing in concrete placement. Interesting. Underground utilities and earthwork. What?
Yes.
I saw that on the site. So I got to ask Josh what that means. So here you go. I'm lobbing you a softball here.
Sure. The easy one to answer is concrete. Everybody knows what concrete is. It's been around for thousands of years. But underground utilities is any type of pipes, water pipes, sewer pipes, anything like that. A lot of times, because concrete is in the ground, it goes hand in hand with excavation. Our Florida office really specializes in underground utilities. Anytime public utilities need to be connected to a new or existing building, we're digging the holes, we're laying the pipe, and then filling them back in. Sometimes with concrete, sometimes we're not.
What sort of is your sweet spot? What types of projects are you guys working on now, and who are you looking to get in front of?
The biggest project, and probably the most famous one we have right now, is the Ralph C. Wilson Park in Detroit. If you're familiar with Ralph C. Wilson, he used to own the Buffalo Bills.
Of course.
And when he passed away, he created a foundation, and just it's part of a beautification of the Riverwalk in Detroit. We're building a brand new park. It's actually really cool. They're going to break the seawall of the Detroit River and bring the river into this park. And it's going to have an outdoor basketball arena, not just a couple of courts, but we're building a concrete structure that's open air. So you can see into the building from the outside. It's all concrete. It's going to be great. Should be opening later this year.
Got your dad, obviously, as the president. That's Pat Barney,
Yes.
and been around doing this for over 40 years yourself. Tell us about your leadership team and how, as a group, you're continuing this legacy, but also, you may have to go, I'm sure you already have gone outside the family to find some of the people that you really trust, right?
Yeah, so J.J. Barney for a long, long time was a relatively small company, and then it really grew when my dad took over. Sometimes unintentionally, sometimes it was intentional to get larger. But as we grew as a company, we couldn't just be owned and operated by one person. We had to add a leadership team, which included me, which included my cousin in our Florida office. So as we got bigger and we expanded our geographic location, we had to bring on additional people from the industry to help us grow as a company, and really actually to help us grow as a family.
There are a lot of options for Metro Detroiters, and you mentioned also Florida with construction, right? There's
Yes.
competition. What sets you guys apart? And when you're getting in front of some folks, what are you throwing at them that maybe will help you get the job?
Just like what I said before, we stand by what we've been doing for nearly 100 years, and we must be doing something right to last that long. I saw some statistic that 90% of companies don't even make it to the second generation, and then 98% don't make it to the third. So the fact that we're on the fourth, I always tell my dad, I'm on easy street. So we must be doing something right. But again, it's just doing what we say we're going to do, not cutting corners to make a quick buck, and really forming long-lasting partnerships with our customers. And we want to do the best for them so that they want to hire us again. We look at every job, we want to do a good job with them in the present, but each job is an audition for the next job. So we're always looking down the road to partner with our customers instead of just always working for them and trying to make as much money as we can.
I love the Ralph C. Wilson project. Obviously, you and I are both football fans, so we know who he is. And heck, the
Right.
stadium was named after him years ago in Buffalo. How much business now is going on in the city of Detroit? You obviously are touching on the city right now with this latest project. How much business are you doing there, and what are you seeing when you're interacting with the 313?
We've always done a lot of business in Detroit. It'll always be our bread and butter. It's where our company was founded. It's where my great grandparents and my grandparents lived their entire life before they moved out, before my family moved out to the suburbs. But we love Detroit. It's great to see it revitalize. When I was born in the 80s, it was really about as down as it could be, even into the 90s. And then pre-COVID, there was a lot of excitement in the city. COVID slowed it down a little bit, but I think we're starting to grow up as a city and doing the things that we need to do. There's a lot of construction going on. We talked about how if we want to attract major sporting events or any kind of event, there's a huge need for additional hotel space, and that seems to be a big thing right now, and that fits great with us. You need concrete for those buildings to sit on top of, and we're the company to do that.
Oh, I love that. It's interesting, and I didn't think this is where I was going to go with you, but we're a couple of sports guys talking
Sure.
here. That is an issue. I know there's been a lot written over the last couple of weeks about the NBA coming out and saying, here are our qualifications to get the All-Star game.
Right.
Detroit certainly has enough flights going in and out of Metro. That's not an issue. Five-star hotels, not an issue. I think the minimum is 3. We have that in this town, but it's the box hotels and it's the number of rooms, right, Josh? That is kind of holding us back from getting all of the events. I know we get the NFL draft coming up, but is that something that you've heard as well? And how do we change that?
Most definitely. We actually, you see it a lot in Corktown, believe it or not. So one of the projects we had that was really cool was on the old Tiger Stadium site. We
Yeah,
built a hotel next door to it, and we actually built the apartment buildings that are on Tiger Stadium. It's called the Ballpark.
yeah.
So you see what Corktown, what it used to be to what it is now. It's really being built up. They're finding land wherever they can find it and putting hotels there. You saw the Book Cadillac Hotel has been revitalized and renovated. That's a great project. We weren't a part of it, but I really admire what they did there. The Shinola Hotel, you can see a lot of businesses want to jump on the Detroit train, and it's great to see.
Josh Barney is our guest. He's the vice president of J.J. Barney Construction, based out of Rochester Hills. But as he said, ton of activity in Detroit. When we come back, coming up next, I want to ask Josh about a little bit about Succession, the family business, and also something that stands out for really good construction companies and a company like theirs is their core values. And I want to talk about that as well. We'll do that coming up next. It's Succession Success, the Q5 Experience podcast.
As a business owner, have you ever thought about what it would look like to leave on your terms? In a business, there are too many moving parts to fully understand and implement a practical succession plan while at the same time living inside your own business. Your energy today is focused on running a great company. In the end, don't you want the highest value? Get to the next phase in life on your terms and leave an impactful legacy? We help with that. The Q5 Experience. We help take the I don't know out of what's next.
Matt Dery back with you. Another episode of our Succession Success podcast right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. We also have Living the Life Method, a podcast just about people and also inside financial architects as we certainly talk to others about money decisions and their finances. Our guest today is Josh Barney. He's the Vice President of J.J. Barney Construction. Also has a big background with the CAM, the Construction Association of Michigan. And Josh, you are a former lawyer as well. How about that?
That's correct. I think being a lawyer in some ways is like being a Marine. Once you're a lawyer, you're always a lawyer.
Oh, man.
Once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
So wait, take me back to this for a second. When did you decide, all right, maybe I wasn't going to do the whole family business construction thing. I'm going to go into law. You got your law degree, but
Yeah.
when did the itch get scratched, I guess?
That's a great question. I always tell people that I didn't actively try to be outside the family business, but I did move 2 states away and I chose an entirely different profession for the first part of my life. Really, it came down to I moved to Chicago for law school right before the recession. You could see it was already affecting Detroit. And as much as I had exposure to a family business, I really kind of stayed out of it. From a young age, I wanted to be an attorney. I couldn't really tell you why. I think I just saw it on TV, thought it was a cool job. So I always had a one-track mind into going into law. I practiced in Chicago. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty cutthroat, especially in the city of Chicago. But sometimes concrete is in the blood, and you can't get away from it, no matter how long you're out of it for. Sometimes when Mama's calling, you gotta answer. And so you always wanna. I always wanted to come back to the city, Michigan. I love it here. There's no place I'd rather be than the state of Michigan. So it's just really kind of a calling. I really feel like I was destined to do this.
That's awesome. And we mentioned before about CAM,
Yep.
our good friend and mutual friend, Kevin Kohler, the president of CAM. I know you've had a big impact on what they do at the Construction Association of Michigan. What does CAM mean to J.J. Barney and vice versa?
So CAM has been a longtime member, I think over 80 years. It's a great organization, the Construction Association of Michigan. My father was involved in a similar organization when he was my age, so I got involved. It's odd because I'm by far the youngest person actively in the leadership council, but it's great exposure. I get in front of a lot of our customers. I'm really passionate about construction and the construction industry, especially with a company that's been around 100 years. I ran for the board of directors. I was elected to the board of directors. And then for 1 year, I was appointed the chairman of the board of directors. So the youngest ever in the 130-year history of CAM.
Wow.
And I really put everything I had into it. I think my professional life probably suffered a little bit because I was spending so much time at CAM, but I brought about a lot of changes that I think are going to move CAM in the direction for the younger generation. And you can already start to see with increases in younger membership at CAM. It's great to see that the next generation, even behind me, I'm a millennial on the older side, but it's nice to see that the next generation getting into the industry and wanting to be active and wanting to be part of something.
You mentioned the next generation. Has it been difficult to find workers and help? You got people on the job all the time. You're building. How hard has it been over the last few years?
I think that's probably the biggest issue in the construction industry right now, is especially when I was in high school in the mid 2000s. And even before me, everybody was pushing, you have to go to college. You have to go to college. You need a college degree if you want to go anywhere in life. And probably at one time that was true, that a college degree really made you stick out amongst your peers. But now that everybody has a college degree, kind of you need to separate yourself differently. And with people not necessarily going to college and not going to trade school, there's a real lull in the next generation of construction workers. And so I'm really active trying to work with high school kids and show them an alternative to going to college, that you can make a pretty decent living. You're probably not going to become the next Mark Zuckerberg working in the construction industry in the fields, but that's okay. You can make an honest day's living, and you work hard, and it's really rewarding. And showing kids that there's alternatives to, frankly, an overpriced college degree, that really you get a piece of paper that says you're capable of learning something. And I don't know that many people that college is necessarily for them, but they've just been told that this is what you have to do. And I want to expose people to the possibility that there's other directions to go in life. And I think going into the skilled trades, yes, it's hard work. Yes, it can be tough and tiring, but it's immensely rewarding, and you can make a pretty decent living at the same time. Especially, I'm a little biased towards union contractors, especially in Southeast Michigan. Most of us are union, but joining a union, there's tremendous benefits. I mean, the field employees that we have that work for us
Yeah.
get their health insurance through their union, and I can tell you right now, it's much better than we can afford as a company. So there's a lot, and they have a pension. Name another profession that has
Yeah.
a pension other than that. There's a lot of things that they have going for it, and we just have to change some mindsets with people that construction isn't what it used to be, especially with advancements in technology. I mean, you almost have to be have a PhD to work some of these equipment, but it's a really exciting time. We do need more people, but I think there's a lot of momentum with this younger generation, that they're seeing that things can be different than what they've been told.
You and I have talked a little bit about Q5. I know we've had conversations just about what we do and offer at the Q5 experience. And a lot of it is owner readiness, on the people side, financial side, and certainly on the business end. With what what the conversations you've had with your dad, and certainly he had with his grandfather, how do you view, so I guess, succession success, and how do you want to take the next generation of your company to the top, like your dad, grandfather, and great grandfather have?
Yeah, it's interesting because the older generation, my great grandfather, my grandfather, they basically just worked until they died. So there was no succession plan. It was, okay, one day you die, and then the next day whoever else takes over. And I don't want that for my dad, even though he probably would work until he died. I think that I want him to live as long as possible. And so we're working on a succession plan, and we're at least talking about it, whereas this kind of stuff wasn't talked about before. Sometimes it's difficult having to get my dad to take a step back, but God bless him, he's willing to do it, and we're being proactive instead of reactive.
I love that. Another thing on your website, which is great, you and I have talked about with J.J. Barney, is core values and being open and honest about, hey, listen, this is what we're about. And that, I think, is a starting point, right, for a good business to just kind of stick to those core values. What are yours, and how important is it that everybody on the team knows what they are?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we started working with a business coach, and we identified 4 core values that really drive the company and guide us in each one of our decisions that we make as an organization. And they're safety, coachability, collaboration, and accountability. We feel that these 4 core values are something that we can't compromise if we want to be around for another 100 years. Safety, obviously, we want each of our workers to go home safe to their families each and every day. Construction can be a dangerous business, and we take the utmost care in protecting our employees. Coachability, if you're not willing to learn new things, technology is always advancing, the industry is always advancing, and if you're not looking to better yourself in any way, or you think you know everything there is to know, you're just not going to make it at this company. Collaboration, we are not a company of individuals. We are the sum of all parts, and we work together. And you need to be able to hold your own, but would work well with others. And then accountability. I think that's pretty obvious, but we set goals for ourselves, and they're not just recommendations or something that we're aiming to do. They're more that this is where we want to go as a company, and this is how we do it. And we want you to get on board and help us get to the places that we want to be.
Tell me about, though, sticking to that. I know it's difficult now with like you said, a new generation and everything else, but have you had to tweak some of these things because of how the business is run and how maybe the construction business has changed? Or you're like, hey, listen, this is who we are and this is how we always are going to be.
You have to tweak. When I say tweak, there's some minor things that you might be willing to change. But as far as the core values, no, you don't really change those. We used to be an organization where everybody had to be in by 7 a.m. and everybody worked till 4:35, and that's just how it was. That's what my great grandfather did. My grandfather did. That's what my dad wants. And now things are changing with advancements in technology. Working from home and remotely is now a possibility. And as long as you can adhere to these core values and you can get your work done and you can be happy with what you're doing and satisfied and wake up each day looking forward to going to work at our company, then that's what's most important. But as far as compromising, we can't compromise on these core values. We've had employees that were high achieving, but they didn't fit the core values, and we had to let them go, even though they were making a lot of money for us, because we decided that we're not going to let one bad apple ruin the bunch, and that while a rising tide can lift all ships, one person can sink everything that we're doing. And no matter how high performing you are, it's really about the success of everybody and not just one person.
Well said, Josh. Congratulations on the success of the company, for being a part of something that's pretty darn special, going back 4 generations, like you said. Thanks for coming on the show, my friend, and all the best.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. Check out their website, JJ Barney. I believe it's JJ Barney Construction. I got to get this right. Nope.
I think it's
JJBarney.com.
Yeah.
For anything that you need and also, how do I get a hold of you, Josh, if the folks want to get in touch with you?
Well, you can go on the website. There's you can contact us by email. You can do that at info@jjbarney.com, or you can call our office at area code 248-844-5460.
Appreciate the time, Josh. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Josh Barney with us, the Vice President of J.J. Barney Construction, again at jjbarney.com. This has been another episode of Succession Success, the Q5 Experience podcast, right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. Thanks for watching and listening.